There are more than 100 refugee children who attend Harrison Elementary School in Lakewood's Birdtown neighborhood. In October of this year, the HIROS Project 7th graders began boarding a bus to Harrison to reach out to the kindergarten and first grade refugees at that school. Each Harding student plans an activity to do with their little buddy, an activity that will encourage using the English language, reading and writing, and playing together. Their faces tell the story of these new, very special relationships.
Oh, I have only one camera.
Put you over here, my camera.
There you go, Rocky. 2K through Y. It's H-T-O-O. No.
I offer you a chair, but can't wait so.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you.
When I first arrived at Harrison, I was very nervous. The children all seemed nervous as well. However, we eventually adapted and got to know each other. I was assigned 2 kids. Vashti was very enthusiastic and social. 2K Pruwa was a bit shy. Although they had very different personalities, they were best friends. One of the first things Vashti said to me was, "I like your shoes." My anxiety left minutes after meeting them. "What's your favorite color?" I had asked them. They both replied in jabbers of all the colors. "I like blue and pink and yellow, but green is also pretty." The experience in general not only affected them, but it also affected me.
Recently, I met my refugee buddy, Deepika, for the first time. I thought it was a really amazing experience. One of the first things we did together was read one of my favorite books when I was a little kid, Goodnight Moon. I think Deepika really enjoys reading. I read the book to her and we looked at all the pictures. Every once in a while, I would ask her to find certain objects in the pictures. A lot of the time, she found them straight away. Other times, I had to help her a little bit. Also, I sometimes asked her if she could read a couple words on different pages, and sometimes she could. The first day we met, we also just talked a little bit about each other. I learned quite a few things about Deepika. One thing I learned was that her favorite color is red. I also learned that she loves to eat pizza. She even said she would eat it for breakfast. That made me laugh.
During our first visit to Harrison, Pajan and I made little turkeys from outlining our hands. While we were coloring, I asked him to say the names of the colors in English because he didn't speak it very well. He had just come to the country 2 months before. After we colored, we read 2 of my favorite books from when I was little, The Curious Garden and The Princess Knight. We didn't actually read the books, I just pointed to the pictures and asked if he knew the names of all the objects. He kept pointing out flowers and excitedly saying the word. Every single time we go to Harrison, it's a new adventure. One funny thing that happened during the visit involved M&Ms. I brought some for him because he probably didn't know what Halloween was. So I gave him the M&Ms and he dropped one down his shirt. This was entertaining because of his energetic personality. He burst into a fit of laughter.
Visiting the refugee children at Harrison is always a fun, inspiring experience. On our first visit, I was paired up with a child named Manish. Anish was only in kindergarten, and his ears were pierced and his wrists were wrapped in bracelets inscribed with foreign writing. Other than that, he looked like any kid of his age. During our time there, him and I colored and read for the most part. He enjoyed the Pooh Bear book I brought and said that he'd seen Pooh before. When we got to a page with Eeyore on it, he laughed and said, "He's fat." Anish was quiet and soft-spoken for the most part, but during our last visits, he's been more confident and willing to speak out. Getting to know someone who has fled from their home country to America has been a great experience, and I think it has helped both me and Anish grow.
My class was going to Harrison, a school in my district that has a large population of refugee children. We were going to spend time with these children and almost be tutors to them. I was so nervous. I wasn't sure what it would be like meeting the kids and all. When I first walked into their classroom, it was warm and inviting. There was already a group of kids there, but not the group we are going to be with. The children that I had been assigned names were Awaj and Huliwa. Awaj is Nepali and Huliwa is Korean. The 2 boys are in 1st grade. When the class walked in, some of the children were shy, for they didn't know any of us. We were just a room full of strangers. But some of the kids were waving and greeting everyone with a friendly hello. When Awaj, Huliwa, and I went into a small group, I introduced myself and they did the same. I had brought with me some books and coloring sheets for us to do together and gave them little gourds and candies for them to keep. The two opened up to me right away. They were not shy at all. Huliwa's mother had recently had a baby, and Huliwa told Mrs. Higgy that the baby's name was Jackson. But when Miss Higgy was talking to his parents, they told her the baby's name was not Jackson, and that he had made it up because that's what he wanted the baby's name to be. This was definitely a conversation starter for them, because my other buddy thought that this story was just about the funniest thing ever. Awaj told me that he plays soccer a lot. That was really the only thing he wanted to talk about. Both of my buddies are great kids.
For the kids at Harrison, HIROS is just playtime. I like to say that it's playtime for me too, but it's more than that, because I am learning. I am learning about the innocent children who have gone through things so terrible they cannot be explained. I am learning how they can still be children and play and make jokes after they have witnessed these horrible things. And I learned that they don't want us to ask about their homes and what happened back there. They want us to ask if we want to play hide and seek or crayons, receiving our little gifts, reading funny books or racing cars across the gym if they're feeling like it. And even if they're in a really good mood, sneaking off to the bathroom for a drink of water just to see if the teacher will notice. Notice how on that list, not a single one of the things that they want to do is to talk about their home and the horrible things that happen there. So I think that we learn from them. I'm not saying that we should ignore the terrible events going on in the rest of the world, but I am saying that the people who come from there, well, they aren't terrorists, they are children and families who are running for their lives. And once they get to the U.S., sometimes they feel like they'd be safer at home. These are children just like us, and they deserve to be treated that way. And if someone has to start making these people see why, well, I'll be happy to start.